3 days before the wedding, I received a flash drive. On it was my fiancée with a naked man in a hotel room. But what was worse was that the man was a friend of her father's, a millionaire, a respected person, and the sponsor of our wedding. I didn't call anything off. I smiled during the photo shoot, drank champagne, kissed her on the cheek, and in the evening, I simply played the video on the big screen in front of her father. Silence fell over the hall. Even the music stopped. People couldn't believe their eyes, and I looked into the eyes of my former wife, knowing this was just the beginning because there was something more to come that no one knew, not even me. Before we continue, please write in the comments what you expect from this story and what topic you would like to hear next. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Let's begin. 3 days before the wedding, I received a flash drive. No, it's not a figure of speech. Just an ordinary flash drive, black with no identifying marks, in an envelope with no return address. I found it in the mailbox in the evening when I got back from the gym. I thought it was advertising, some corporate stuff, or a forgotten presentation. But when I plugged it into my laptop, I felt my fingers on the mouse go numb. The first thing I saw was a title, a white background with simple letters. Watch till the end, mate. Better now than at the reception. Then came the video. A hotel room. Budget furnishings. The camera is on the nightstand. No hidden cameras. Everything is filmed head-on. First, a woman enters the frame. Couldn't believe it. I rewound it, looked closer. It was her. Emily, my fiancée. Smiling. She was undressing, laughing. Then he came in. I didn't recognize him at first. The face seemed familiar, but from a different angle. Only when he said her name did I freeze. Emily, you're as gorgeous as ever. It was Richard Thompson, a friend of Emily's father, one of those who sat at the table with us at the engagement, raised a toast, patted me on the shoulder and said, "You're a good man, Tom, reliable. All business." He paid for the restaurant, the rings, the reception. I respected him, maybe even feared him a little. A man with money, connections, and charisma. And on the screen, there he was with her in bed, without masks, without shame. I watched it to the end. Yes, I could have turned it off. Yes, I could have thrown the laptop against the wall, but I watched until the final frame. Not because I'm a masochist, but because I couldn't tear myself away. Then there was silence. No rage, no anger, no shouting, just a dead, ringing silence in my head, like a hall after a knockout. I sat in the kitchen for 3 hours, not angry, not drinking, not calling her, just looking at the wedding ring lying by the stove, and thinking, call it all off, call her, her father, make a scene on social media, disappear. No, I'm not one of those who run. I'm a boxer. I know how to take a punch. And now I'll deliver my own. I got up, turned on the light, took the laptop and started editing without vulgarity, without excess. I cut out everything that could be intimate. I left only what was necessary to make everything clear. First, our story, photos from walks, the wedding proposal, trips, gifts, and then that frame. Them without sound, without comments. Just so everyone could see where our life began and how it ended. The next day, I ordered a projector and a big screen. I asked the MC to play the video at the end of the reception as a surprise. He smiled. Yes, of course, it'll be beautiful. The guests will appreciate it. I hoped they would too. And you know what was the scariest thing? I didn't doubt for a second. I just looked in the mirror and repeated to myself, stay calm. You'll survive. The main thing is to do it so she'll remember it for the rest of her life. In the morning, everything was on schedule. The stylist arrived on time, the suit hung like new. Coffee without taste, but strong. I looked in the mirror and checked. Was it me there? Or someone else already? My hands didn't tremble. I was surprised at myself. I knew what I was doing and I knew why. The wedding began solemnly. Many guests. The banquet hall decorated with white and cream flowers. Someone quietly cried with emotion already at the bridal reveal. Someone laughed. Emily was perfect. Everything according to the dream bride's manual. The dress, the makeup, the voice, and even the look. Only now I knew how much lie was in that look. But I smiled, said the right words, took pictures. I played my role until the last take. Next to her father, Michael, at the table sat Richard Thompson, the same one from the flash drive, a family friend, an honored guest, the man who paid for the reception. He laughed, raised toasts, and patted Michael on the shoulder, and I looked at the two of them, and it became physically difficult to breathe. One didn't know, the other knew everything and sat with the one he betrayed. What beautiful hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen. But I held on. The glass didn't tremble. The expression on my face was flawless. Even Walter, my best man, whispered, "You're like a rock." I respect that. The guests were having fun. The music played. The MC told jokes. Someone released lanterns, spoke of love, fidelity, and trust, and I watched the clock until the countdown hit 20 minutes. When the main course was brought out, I stood up. Emily looked at me in surprise. I nodded to the MC. He understood the signal and announced into the microphone, "Friends, the groom has prepared a special surprise for you. A video about the love we are celebrating today." The hall applauded. Emily looked at me and whispered, "You edited it yourself?" I smiled. All personally, down to the last frame. The screen came down, the lights dimmed. The hall froze in anticipation. The montage began. Emily and I. Shots from the seaside, walks in the park, photos from the engagement. Romantic music, smooth transitions, black and white filters. Everyone smiled. Someone wiped away a tear. Emily took my hand, and then, click, the picture changed. On the screen was a hotel room, a camera mounted on the nightstand. Their voices, hers and Richard's. Without sound, without vulgarity, only the facts. At first, there was an awkward silence in the hall. Then whispers. Someone screamed. Emily's mother covered her face with her hands. Michael froze. He didn't immediately understand what was happening. Then turned to Richard, but he was already getting up quickly, nimbly, not looking at anyone. He grabbed his jacket and, without uttering a word, headed for the exit, as if he knew this moment would come. Michael remained seated. He took off his glasses, put them on the table, looked at the screen, and I saw he understood everything. Emily turned to me, her pale lips trembling. "Why?" I took the microphone. "So you'll remember, and so they'll remember not our wedding, but their truth." I took out a second flash drive. And now, part 2. There was nothing on it. It was the final blow. Someone slammed the door. Someone screamed. Someone tried to approach me. I took off the ring, threw it into a glass of vodka, and drank it. "The wedding is over," I said, and headed for the exit. I walked down the street in a wedding suit, alone, without a jacket, without a ring, with a voice in my head repeating, "You did it, you did it." But inside, there was no feeling of victory, just silence, the kind that doesn't let you sleep, even if you close your eyes. I didn't go home, sat on a bench by the river, where Emily and I once walked in the spring. The wind was warm, but I was freezing. Taking the flash drive out of my pocket, I looked at it in my palm. A small plastic box. Changed lives. A couple of hours later, Walter called. "Mate, are you aware? Your wedding is already on the internet. Someone filmed it on their phone. All the Telegram channels are blasting it. 30,000 views in an hour." I didn't answer. What could I say? 3 days later, the video was everywhere, with headlines like, "Groom exposes bride's cheating right at wedding. Moment caught on video. Scandal of the year. Family friend turns out to be bride's lover. Who really sponsored the betrayal?" Voices were divided into two camps. Some wrote, "The man did it beautifully. I applaud him standing. She deserved it. Serves her right." Others, "You can't do that. This personal revenge is no reason to put on a show." He humiliated not only her but all her relatives. But I didn't care. I no longer cared who was right and who was wrong. I just wanted it to disappear from my head. Emily disappeared, her social media froze. Then Walter said she had been kicked out of the house, and her mother was in the hospital with high blood pressure. Her father, they say, closed himself off from everyone. Richard disappeared from the public eye. Rumors began, a tax audit, some criminal cases. And I left, not for Bali, not for Miami. rented a simple apartment on the outskirts, worked with teenagers in the local gym. Not because it was necessary, but because they didn't ask questions. For them, I was just Coach Tom. Silent, attentive, a little tough, but fair. Sometimes at the end of the day, I sat in the empty gym, looked at the punching bag, and thought, what now? Was that the finish or just the start? One day, I heard the guys in the locker room discussing that wedding. One says, "Did you hear? The groom played a video of his fiancée with another guy. It was brutal." The other says, "Yeah, I saw it. I read in the comments that he went to a monastery or a mental hospital or became a boxing coach." I chuckled. A mental hospital was closer to the truth, at least inside. I didn't communicate with anyone from the past, not even Walter. I didn't want anyone to remind me how it was. But reminders still found me. One day, a letter came on paper with beautiful, even handwriting without a signature. "I don't know how you're living, but I'm alive. And yes, I ruined everything, but you didn't become better from your truth. Your victory turned out to be silence. And mine is that I'm still breathing." I reread it and threw it away. Then I took it out of the trash and left it in a desk drawer. It was her letter, the first, but not the last. If you've listened to this point, thank you. If you like this story, support us with a like, a comment, and a subscription. It really helps our project grow. And now, let's get back to those events. It was an ordinary day. I was finishing a workout with the junior group. The teenagers scattered to the locker rooms. I was left alone in the gym, wiping down the ring, collecting gloves. At that moment, she walked in. I immediately noticed she wasn't one of ours. Strict coat, high ponytail, confident gait, straight back. A woman who knows why she came. "Are you Tom?" she asked. "Yes. Do you have a minute? It's not about boxing." I nodded. She came closer, took off her gloves, leather, not cheap. "My name is Olivia. Olivia Thompson." Pause. Richard Thompson's daughter. The blow wasn't to the face, but to the insides. I didn't show it, just sat down on the bench. "Interesting." She sat down next to me. "I'm not defending him. I'm not justifying him. I just wanted to see you." I was silent after that incident. She continued. "He changed, became withdrawn, hardly speaks. Mom left him. The business went downhill. Now he lives alone, stares at the wall, sometimes at an empty phone, waiting for calls that won't come." "And you want me to feel sorry?" I asked quietly. "No, that's not why I'm here. I don't feel sorry for him myself." She exhaled. "We always had a cold relationship. I never considered him a real father. He was more of a business than a person." She looked me in the eye. "But when I saw you stage that wedding, I couldn't look away. Did you want applause?" "No. I wanted to understand where so much pain came from in a person." I clenched my fingers. "You think I was wrong?" I asked. "I think you were absolutely right, but sometimes being right leaves more ashes than lies." We fell silent. The gym was empty. Only the clock above the door ticked. I said, "In boxing, everything is simple. Left, right, dodge, keep your distance. You fall, you get up, or you don't. But in life, you can stand on your feet, hit, take a punch, and still lose." Olivia nodded. "That's why I came, because I know you're not evil." She stood up. "You're wounded and very lonely." I chuckled. "Is that a diagnosis?" "No, it's a statement." She walked towards the exit. "I'm not asking for anything. I won't write, call, impose myself." She took a piece of paper out of her pocket. "But if you ever want to just talk, I'll leave my number." Not as the daughter of a lover, but as someone who knows what it's like to live with other people's mistakes. And she left. And I remained sitting, looking at the paper, holding it in my hand, as I once held the flash drive. After that conversation with Olivia, I couldn't recover for a long time. She didn't ask for anything, didn't justify her father, but her words cut no worse than a blow to the temple. Sometimes being right leaves more ashes than lies. I continued to work. The same kids, the same workouts, the same punching bag. But inside, everything was as if buried under snow. No anger, no joy, just cold. 2 years passed. I was no longer the same man who threw the ring into the glass. The pain had burned out, leaving only even ash. I lived, worked, breathed, almost learned to sleep peacefully. One night, when I stayed in the gym, sat on the bench by the ring. A message came without a signature, without text, only a link to a video. I didn't rush to open it. For 5 minutes, I just sat looking at the phone. Then I put on headphones and pressed play. The screen went dark, then the light of a weak lamp, and there she was. Emily without makeup, in an old t-shirt, against a gray wall, similar to a rented apartment. She was silent for a few seconds, then spoke. Her voice was unsure, broken. I don't know why I'm recording this. I don't want you to forgive me, and I don't expect it. Just if you see this, it means I've decided. She exhaled. After the wedding, I left almost immediately. Not to him. I didn't know where to go at all. I got on a train and just disappeared. I was pregnant. Yes, with your child. I didn't tell anyone, not even my parents. I was afraid. I hid. I gave birth alone, without support, without calls, without confessions. My son is almost 2. He doesn't know who you are, but I know. And even if you never ask, I just wanted you to know. He became the meaning that I took away from myself. I watched the screen without breathing. My hand clenched my knee. I ruined us. That's true. But you made it so that I was gone on that screen in front of everyone. You showed how I was with another man. And all this time, I dreamed that you would at least try to ask why. Pause. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry, just continued. I'm not saying you're bad. I just want you to know. I didn't betray out of malice. I was weak, stupid. And yes, that doesn't negate my actions, but everything I had collapsed. And you survived. You're strong. Only do you know what's strange? The strong don't take revenge. They forgive. And you took revenge. The video ended. I sat for a long time, then turned it on again and again. On the third time, my fingers trembled not from anger, but from something else, something I hadn't allowed myself before. I took out my phone, wrote briefly, without greetings, without farewells. You wanted me not to forget, and I really didn't forget. But now it's not pain. It's just emptiness. But now it doesn't hurt. Just empty. There was no answer, and I didn't expect one. I just got up, turned off the light in the gym, and before leaving, looked at the old punching bag. It was all cracked, like me inside. In the morning, I ordered a new one. 14 years have passed since I received that video. 14. Sometimes it seems as if everything happened in another life. Sometimes as if it were yesterday. I'm no longer that same groom with the flash drive. Now I'm just Tom, a coach, a gym, a team, trainees, bags, raps, sweat, blood. This is my life. I've forgotten how to talk about myself. I haven't forgotten the past, but I don't remember it. Emily no longer appeared. No letters, no calls. I knew that somewhere there was a son, a boy to whom I am a father, and I knew that one day he might knock. Or not knock. I was ready for both options, but everything turned out differently. He came in quietly, without fanfare, without phrases like, "You don't recognize me." Just walked into the gym. "Hello, I'm Ethan. Can I train?" 16 years old. Strong, calm, stubbornly looking into my eyes. Didn't pick fights, didn't show off, but was stronger inside than many adults. After a month, I realized the kid was working hard. After a year, I set his punch personally. After a year and a half, I took him to a city tournament. He didn't let me down once. There was something familiar in him. Not the face, not the figure, not even the voice, but the manner of being silent when everyone is shouting. Endure, suppress emotions inside. I felt that he wasn't random, but I didn't ask myself. Waited for him to speak. The final of the tournament. A big arena. I stand behind the ropes, giving instructions. He nods. No fear, no unnecessary fuss, just confidence. And suddenly, in the hall, I see her. Emily sits in the back, looking not at me, but at him somehow particularly. Not with hope, with pain. 3 rounds. Victory on points. He comes out of the ring, takes off his helmet, approaches me. Coach, can I say something? Speak. He lowers his eyes for a second, then looks directly at me. I'm your son, Emily's son. She never told you anything, never. But when we returned to the city, I found your gym myself, chose the team myself, and decided that I would only say this after the victory. I was silent. He continued, I'm not asking for anything. You just had to know. He went to the locker room and I remained standing. Emily had already disappeared. I stayed in the gym alone, sat on the edge of the ring, looked at the mirror opposite. What do you feel now, Tom? Not pain, not anger, not even relief. I felt weight, the weight of choice. I destroyed her and she gave birth to him. He is not punishment and not forgiveness. He is a pure person, chose me himself. I don't know how to be a father, but I will teach him to take a punch and not be like me or her. Would you be able to accept a son from a woman who once crushed your life? Is he her shadow or your chance to start over? Write in the comments. Sometimes the end is just the beginning from a different angle.